Yeah, you guys can go look at this one. This interview assignment from another semester. So a DACA student. So two students in class made it. They did an interview with a woman. She was a student, and so talking to her and her fiance. And they're, it's definitely a student video, so it's not perfect. But I love that they get like the Maria and her boyfriend, and they get that perspective back and forth. So it's not just how she feels about this; it's how it affects other people. The dramatic, yeah, they're both very passionate about their opinions, and so that one is a lot of fun to watch. And let's go on. Take a look at the next one, which is uniquely MC. So we're going to look at the first part of this video, uniquely MC. And it was created by Amelia Schuler and Rebecca Sisk. In this case, this is a really classic form of an interview. It's done on location, and then we have the B-roll, which is that we see, instead of just a talking head with her in front of the camera, we see her, and then it cuts to other things. We see activities. She's talking about her sewing business, and then we see her sewing business. So that's and so it's got a wide shot, medium. We saw close-ups. We saw different elements of that, and so that's well, while you'll be doing a slightly different subject, that's really the form and sort of the structure of what you guys will be doing. And that's pretty much the traditional, very classic structure of an interview with cutaways. So it's a good thing for you guys to be really familiar with that genre, be familiar with that structure, be able to work well within it. And then once you get that down, then of course there's a million other ways that you can take that. All right. There are places that you might have seen this where we're talking to someone and we see them and then it cuts away to something else. Can you think of other times that you've seen that, either specifically or other types of videos where that would come up? Anyone?
I think a lot of times with things with local businesses, you kind of see that kind of perspective, I guess, like more personal things like that. Kind of like how the sewing business was kind of personal to her. They showed the more of the inside view like that, I guess.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. And you mean that you would see that when they did an advertisement for the business, maybe?
Yeah, or maybe a new place that opened or something, kind of I don't know, like a family owned kind of thing, or
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So in this case, yeah, she graduated from college and she opened her own business making handbags and is doing pretty well with it. So yeah, a video, it just ran on our class YouTube channel about that. So taking a look at it. Has anyone ever done an interview like this or conducted an interview? I'm curious. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have. Several of you. I'm so sorry about that. All right, well, yeah, it's always exciting. Thanks for hanging in there. I'm glad I made it back. Great, so several of you have done interviews like this. Mr. Johnson, if you're able to, if you have audio or if you want to type in and tell us a little bit, what's been your experience?
So I kind of do interviews for my internship sometimes. I talk to the students and parents who were a part of the organization. It's called Community in Schools the Midlands. It just helps at-risk students prepare for graduation as well as going to the next grade level. It's all the way from elementary to high school.
Interesting. And do you do that is that just the interview with their face, or are you able to do cutaways and get other footage also?
Yeah, so last semester before like Corona and stuff, I actually used to like travel to the schools and take photos and do videos and stuff there of the students who were in the program as well as classrooms. And I know like now it's just like I'm working remote as well as like traveling to different locations, not schools necessarily, but like to our office and open locations to do the interviews currently.
Cool. And that's part of an internship you have.
It's my internship. I'm like their video and photography intern.
That's really cool. That's great. Is any of your stuff posted where we can see it?
We haven't released like any of the interviews yet. Um, Most of the stuff I've done have just been in like some of their pamphlets and like a lot of the photos I've taken. I've really just branched into the video side of things.
Okay. Well, nice. Well, if they do get posted while we're still in class, I'd love to see some of them. Be sure and share the link with us.
No problem.
All right. So great. So several of you have done something like this before. At least you've had some experience interviewing people. So that's great. And so I want to say wherever you are, like think about, here's where you are and how can you build that to the next level. So if you've had really no experience with this, then you're going to start there. You've taken photographs or portraits of people but haven't done interviews, then you're going to build that type of rapport and build that. If you already have experience, then how can you take this further and how can you use this assignment to make something that really, is still a capstone in your portfolio and something that really shines, okay? So that's just really up to you, however you want to handle this. I'm going to show you one more link if we can do this. And this one is a little bit different structure. Let's see, so recording, good. All right, so this is, the New York Times did a project and they called it A Conversation on Race, as you can see. And they have, so they picked a modern topic, race, and they did lots of little interviews, but when you put them together, it makes a really powerful statement because you get lots going to one place and seeing perspectives of a lot of different people. And in this case, they did it in a very standard format. So you can see that people are in a studio, they've got a black background, they're well lit, they've all got a lavalier mic hiding somewhere, and they're just telling their stories. So there's no B-roll in this case, but the reason I'm showing you this, I really like the idea of taking a topic and exploring it in different ways. And I think this is something that we could do as a class, some version of this, of taking a topic and each of us do an interview or a small part of it, then when we put it all together on a website, I think we could have a really powerful snapshot of what it looks like in 2020. So that's where I'm going with this. And I especially like this one, Conversation with Police on Race. So I'm going to show a little bit of this if I can get it happening. And if not, you guys, maybe like 2 minutes of this. And otherwise, you guys have the link and you can explore this yourselves also. Oh, there's an. Okay. Give you a minute to come back to us, let that sink in a little bit, and let's talk about it. People in New York they shared their experiences, and it makes a powerful project. But we know that is, New York is its own place, right? It's got its own vibe and stuff. And one thing you're really working on across America is letting people tell their own stories. So here in the South, in South Carolina, maybe our story is different. Maybe your experiences are different. Maybe they're the same, that's fine, but we would want to find those things out. So So that's why I bring this to you, is I think we could do something as a group, not necessarily about race, but something that addresses the topics of the day. And we know that there are plenty of those in 2020. So